It was one of those nights for the Orlando Magic, a night that seemed inevitable. The Magic just didn't have it. Today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is January 6, 2025. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. Of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the Orlando Magic just don't have it. They lose. They're on empty. They're stretched too thin. And the Magic couldn't find the energy to break free. What that means for the Magic and whether we should just disregard this game entirely. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right we upload. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. And you can make Locked On Magic even bigger part of your day with the Locked On Magic Daily Newsletter, the one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic Newsletter. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is also brought to you by FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed, win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. If you're listening to this podcast, you know the score. You know what the deal was. You know what happened. Sunday was a game to forget. And I'm not going to sit here and excuse it. The Magic are plenty capable of winning these kinds of games. They've shown us what they are made of. They've shown us what they can do. And I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This wasn't just the case of the Jazz played well. And let me get this straight. The Jazz played well. They earned this win. They made the plays they needed to get this win. They played well. The Magic did not. And it's one thing to shoo away a loss when it's like, you played well and a better team beat you. That may be what we're talking about on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic after the Magic play the Knicks. There just may be a moment where it's just like, you know what? It's too much. We've done all we can. The Jazz played well. The Magic didn't. And we've noted this a few times, but really, this is the first game where from start to finish, you could feel the weight of everything the Magic don't have. There was that loss to the Knicks, the second loss to the Knicks, the second home loss to the Knicks, I should say, where the Knicks were just the better team. They blew the game open in the fourth quarter, and it wasn't for a lack of trying, but the Magic just weren't good enough. They just didn't have the depth. They couldn't maintain a high level of play against a quality opponent for 48 minutes. This game was different. The Magic didn't have it from really start to finish. There were moments, there were flashes, but Orlando was able to keep the game close for only so long, and then the dam just broke. We all know what the Magic are missing right now. And again, no one's going to use this as an excuse, nor should they, because we know what this team is capable of. But being without Jalen Suggs, you could feel the energy deficit. You could feel that the Magic they just didn't have it. And they were spending their entire game, frankly, and again, sorry for using vague pronouns here. They were trying to find it. And they could not find it. That spark, that energy, it just wasn't there. And again, I want to explain things further, but this just didn't look like the Orlando Magic that we're used to seeing. It didn't look like a team that plays harder than their opponent. And that's how they make up for so many things that they don't have, whether it's offense, defense, personnel, whatever. The Magic they couldn't find the spark. They couldn't find anything really to bring the fans into the game and create that home court advantage that is so important to what they do. Some of it is simply they missed shots at the wrong time. Some of it is simply the Jazz outworked them to loose balls. They looked small against Walker Kessler, against Kyle Filipowski, against the bigger player, against Drew Eubanks, against the bigger players the Jazz had. The Magic just could not get the spark they needed to win the game. Orlando scratched and clawed and forced turnovers and put themselves in a great position tied at the half. They should have been up by more at the half, 43-43 at the half. But the shots just would not fall in this game. But unlike the game against the Raptors, where they moved the ball and created these great open looks, the Magic were settling. They were not willing to attack Walker Kessler. He had only one block, but Orlando shot 18 for 41 in the paint. That is a Walker Kessler problem. That is a shot blocker problem. The Magic were stopping short, shooting floaters, shooting mid-range jumpers. They weren't going in. And then eventually they just started settling for threes. And look, they made 14 threes. They won the three-point battle 14-11, but they took 47. It's their seventh game this season, I believe, where they've taken 45 or more threes. It happens. They're 3-4 in those games. It's not like it's a sure sign that they're going to lose, but it's a sure sign that the offense wasn't working properly. And so when you lose that aggression on offense, when you lose that energy, when you're frustrated on offense, it's only a matter of time before the defense lags too. And Orlando does a very good job not allowing their bad offense to affect their defense. That is something they do well. That didn't happen. By the fourth quarter, the Magic had started to lose grip. They're down 9 after 3 quarters. Jazz went on an extended run. It wasn't like it all happened at once. And then Utah made plays in the fourth quarter. They won the third quarter 28-19. Magic, again, struggling to shoot. And by the time the Magic started making shots, scoring 30 in the fourth quarter, Utah had found their rhythm. Whether it was Bryce Sensabaugh scoring 27 points on 5 for 6 shooting from 3, whether it was Walker Kessler digging out key rebounds, whether it's the Magic just simply not being able to string enough shots together to make a push to get to the lead, whether it was the Magic just giving up a flurry of points early in the fourth quarter to fall down by 17 to double that deficit. Orlando just could not reel things back in. And so, I want to give them grace. I really do. I know what they're capable of, and I know that they're playing with small margins. I had a lot of people say, oh, Utah was missing a lot of key players. Utah was. The difference is Utah can replace the players that they're missing. And you can't replace them consistently. Are you going to be able to rely on Bryce Sensabaugh to score 25 and 27 over his last 2 games? Probably not. But losing Lauri Markkanen, they could throw in a Bryce Sensabaugh. Losing John Collins, they could throw in a Johnny Juzang. They still had Colin Sexton to drive the ball downhill, to take shots, to try and force things, and Walker Kessler to set their defense, whatever defense they have. Again, Orlando, I think, still got some good shots and missed them, and that you can live with that. Orlando's missing Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, and Mo Wagner. Probably their 4 best offensive players. This game is not about the Magic's defense. The defense struggled in the fourth quarter. It collapsed. I'm not going to deny that. They need to play better. But this was about the offense. An offense that was unable to create quality looks. An offense with a lot of inconsistent players having to step into bigger roles. And an offense that ultimately didn't have the energy. Didn't have the typical Magic energy that enables them to win games. That's the truth of it. That's the truth of what we saw Sunday night. We know for this Magic team to win with all that they're missing and all that they don't have, they have to play beyond energetic. They have to be first to every loose ball. That's how you have to win these possessions. That's how you make up for losing players. And the Magic didn't do that. Just plain and simple. The Magic didn't have that energy. And that's ultimately why they lost. The Jazz made the winning plays, and the Magic didn't. And the good news is it's just one game. You're going to have bad games. You're going to have bad nights. The Magic promised us that they had to value the Tuesdays in January when they don't have the energy, and this is the kind of game you have to win. And unfortunately for the Magic, with the players that they've lost, they're susceptible to losses to the Jazz. No offense to the Jazz. Played well. I'm going to give them all the credit in the world. Nothing is going to be easy for the Magic while they're missing so many key players. But now the Magic have to get back on the horse, do it again Monday in New York against the Knicks. They can't have games like this, just from an energy and intensity standpoint. They can't let themselves get frustrated. They have to stick with it because they know it works. It just didn't on Sunday night. We're going to go through the box score next. I'll explain a little bit how the Magic just didn't get what they needed from their key players. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at PrizePicks. Basketball season is heating up, and there's no better way to get real money action while watching your favorite NBA stars than with PrizePicks. Whether you're a diehard fan or just love some friendly competition, PrizePicks makes it fun and easy to turn your basketball knowledge into cash. Here's how it works. Pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Think LeBron's going to drop 30 points or maybe Luka's getting more than 8 assists? PrizePicks lets you make your predictions and put your money where your mouth is in just 60 seconds. PrizePicks is the daily fantasy game that I play, and let me tell you, it's the best. There are no crazy salary caps. There are no complicated point systems. And best of all, you're not swimming with the sharks in all those daily fantasy pools. It's you versus the numbers. That's the best thing. And with PrizePicks flex play option, even if one of your picks doesn't hit, you can still double your money. Plus, once you hit, your money hits you fast. Sometimes as quick as 15 minutes. It's the best daily fantasy game out there. Now is the perfect time to join. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. No need to win to get the bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. So let's dive into the box score. Again, it's not pretty. And, again, you look at how these games go by. You have to get something from someone. Like that's kind of the deal. You have to get creation. You have to get some push from somebody. And that's like what the Magic are missing. You watch Jamal Mosley right now, and he is hunting for the guy that has it every night. And typically he's able to find it. He's got enough players on his bench. He can find the player who could be the star that they can run actions through and make decisions with, and the guys that are kind of with the flow of the game. He just did not, it wasn't there tonight. It wasn't there Sunday night. The Magic could not find the guys that had it because nobody had it. Like with Jalen Suggs out, with Franz Wagner out, with Paolo Banchero out, Mo Wagner's obviously out, with Anthony Black out too. Those are 5 like rotation level players. It's hard to win when you're missing that many rotation level players. Magic can do it, obviously. So who are the players that the Magic typically rely on? Well, you rely on a lot of creation from Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony usually is very good at getting in the paint, causing defense to collapse on him because of his size, it's can be a little tricky for him to pass out of it or to shoot over it. And that's what happened. 12 points, 5 for 14 shooting, 2 for 4 from 3. It wasn't the worst game from Cole, but in the starting lineup as well, he had to play some defense and struggled defensively. He had 5 fouls in the game. He did have 3 blocks, but Cole is all or nothing. He's either really good or really bad. Honestly, this game was like the first time in a while he's been like just okay. But again, who are you relying on for points? He scored only 12 points, didn't get to the line. Magic as a team really struggled to get to the line. They did not get to the foul line. at all in the first half and only shot 13. They were 8 of 13 from the foul line. Goga Bitadze was the only starter to get to the foul line at 0 for 4. Again, I talked about this. So much of the Magic is, win the paint, win the game. Because the Magic are such a bad shooting team, they have to get downhill, get to the basket, get to the foul line, make up those points somewhere, and kick out and spray out the three-point shooters. That didn't happen. Credit to Walker Kessler, credit to the Jazz defense. They bugged the Magic enough. But again, so Cole Anthony didn't score. He's 2 for 4 from 3. Who else is getting shots? Tristan da Silva, 25 points in the game against the Raptors, scores just 6 against Utah. 3 for 11 from the floor, 0 for 4 from 3. I love his confidence. I want him to be confident. Consistency is the problem. And again, that's why these players are not always in the rotation. Again, Tristan da Silva's a rookie. Rookies are always bad. Rookies are inconsistent as all get out. Da Silva has sometimes struggled to follow his best games of the year with the same thing. Being able to do the same thing over and over again. That's the point of the regular season. Da Silva's going to be fine. He's going to figure it out. Shots didn't go down in this game, unlike the game on Friday. And so there's another key player who's not giving you what you need. So let's move on. Caleb Houston, 3 for 10 from 3, taking a lot of threes, sometimes hunting the three-point line. Caleb Houston needs to get in the paint. He needs to develop a driving game. He needs to develop a 2-dribble pull-up, even just something else, because you can't feast or famine on threes. You could be 3 for 10 on 3 if other players are making shots, but when the team shoots 35.7% from the floor and 14 for 47 from 3, which is 29.8%, that's not going to get the job done. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, just 2 points, 1 for 8 shooting, 0 for 4 from 3. Look, Kenny's going to struggle when people aren't setting him up for those spot-up shots, when he has to kind of create his own three-point shots. And I love that he wants to be more aggressive, and he probably needed to be more aggressive in this game, or the Magic needed to trust him a little bit more to take some control. But in a game where no one's making shots, you need your best three-point shooter to make shots. The Magic did get some lift off the bench. Jett Howard had 21 points on 7 for 16 shooting, 4 for 10 from 3. I will note a lot of that came at the end of the game, but Jett Howard had some really nice minutes in the first quarter, hit a couple threes, got some energy going. Jett Howard was one of the Magic's better players. And I want to talk a little bit more about him later in the week. We're going to save that for after the New York game. But Jett showed hints of what he can be. Tried to yam it on Walker Kessler a few times. I love that aggression. I love that he attacked. Like, I don't care if you're missing shots. Attack. The Magic needed it tonight. Wendell Carter, solid game off the bench. 15 points, 6 for 10 shooting, 6 rebounds. You could tell how small he was, though. 3 turnovers. When he tried to gather around the basket, allowed Utah's bigs to reset, made those shots around the basket a little bit harder. That led to some turnovers. That led to some bad kickouts. Again, just what more is he supposed to do? Trevelin Queen, 11 points, but 3 for 10 shooting. He was 2 for 5 from 3. The Magic's bench really struggled in the first half. They were better in the second half, but again, closing that gap a little bit. They were down by as much as 20 points. They got it down to 13. So the Magic helped close the gap very late in the game when the benches were in. But again, who are the Orlando Magic counting on every single night? Colin Sexton did not shoot the ball well in the first half, but he still got 20 points on 6 for 18 shooting. He still put pressure on the defense by getting downhill, creating opportunities for others. That's what the Magic were missing. Again, you just look at these numbers. Utah outscores Orlando 52-36 in the paint. They were 26-41 in the paint. Orlando was 18 for 41. Magic just were not getting enough shots in the paint, and they were missing the shots in the paint they were getting. The Magic forced 22 turnovers. That kept Orlando in the game and kept them alive throughout the first half. But they only scored 21 points off those turnovers. That needs to be over 30. The Magic still have, I was talking with one of the other reporters during the game. The Magic's biggest issue offensively is not making or missing shots. Honestly, everyone says it, and I'm not completely a believer. Yeah, you control whether you make or miss a shot. The Magic's biggest offensive problem is not whether they make or miss shots. The Magic's biggest offensive problem is the value of their possessions. Are they going to value possessions? Are they going to limit their turnovers? Are they going to get a shot with every possession? And then what is the quality of that shot? This game, the Magic protected the ball fine. Turnovers were not the issue that they've been over the last couple of weeks. 11 turnovers. Utah only scored 4 points off those turnovers. So Utah's not converting off those turnovers either. But you look in transition. Orlando is 5 for 17 on fast break opportunities. They only scored 12 points on fast break points. 5 for 17. You even shoot 500. That's 6 more points and we got ourselves a ball game. Because again, Utah pulled away because they made plays at the right time. They made the flurry of shots at the right time. And Orlando just couldn't sustain anything. So it's about valuing the possessions. It's about getting the right shot. Jet Howard, I love Jet's perspective on this. He said after the game, yeah, he scored a lot of points, but he wasn't happy with the shot selection. He knows he needs to shoot better shots. And one of the reporters asked him, what's a better shot? And Jet said a better shot is when you can get a better, what makes a shot a bad shot? He says, when you can get a better shot. There are a lot of opportunities tonight where the Magic could have gotten better shots. And I'm sure the numbers will say the Magic missed their share of open shots. And again, I can live with that. Process over results. But the Magic did not take a lot of good shots. They settled a lot. And honestly, I want to give Utah all the credit. They played well. The Magic did not play well. If the Magic play okay, they give themselves a chance to win this game. Utah played really well. I want to give them a lot of credit for how well they played. But the Magic, again, just didn't have it. They didn't have the momentum play that they needed to get back and pull away in this one. We are, Penn State, but officially at 4 weeks since Franz Wagner's injury. So we talked to him. I'll tell you a little bit about what Franz had to say after the game. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to our friends over at FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more. Over on FanDuel, you can already get odds on the NFL playoffs, including the Tampa Bay Buccaneers sitting as 3.5-point favorites at home against the Washington Commanders in their first round game on Sunday Night Football at Raymond James Stadium. It should be a blast to watch after the Magic's game against, I believe the Sixers come to town on Sunday. If you're looking for NBA action, they have plenty of that too. The Orlando Magic are 11.5-point dogs at New York on Monday. Going to be a tough game for the Magic there. And the Magic are still among the favorites to win the Eastern Conference at plus 1,500. I guess favorite is a little bit of a stretch there. They're fifth in that order, but you get the gist. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. We are officially 4 weeks since Franz Wagner's injury. December 7th, up in Philadelphia, Franz Wagner tore his right oblique. Same injury as Paolo Banchero, and Paolo Banchero remains out. I do not anticipate that he will play Monday in New York, but the Magic are scheduled to practice on Wednesday. Jamal Mosley said before the game he's still working on his conditioning. They're still working to get him into a contact practice. Wednesday could be a very big day for Paolo Banchero as far as getting him approved to play. Magic play the Wolves on Thursday, the Bucks on Friday, and then I believe the Sixers on Sunday. So the Magic are hoping, I'm sure, that Paolo will be back, especially with everything they're missing, but they're not going to rush him back. They're not going to push him back before he's ready to go. But we are 4 weeks since Franz Wagner's injury, and we were promised that Franz would be reevaluated in 4 weeks. So we got the chance to talk with Franz Wagner after the game in the Magic locker room. So the gist of what Franz said is that he's being patient. Just like with Paolo, who reported the same thing. This is not an injury where you feel it very much. This is not an injury that affects your day-to-day. It affects you when you play. You could aggravate it, cause some worse problems if you try to play on it and you try to stress it out. But like, it's not like a sprained ankle where you can't walk. And that's been the trickiest thing about these injuries for both Paolo and Franz, is just making sure that they stay patient and stay in the process, and that they wait for this thing to pass, wait for this thing to heal. By some accounts, Mo Wagner said on his podcast, which was in German, that Franz's oblique tear was not as bad as Paolo's. We have seen some video of him doing resistance exercises, like very, very simple kind of movement resistance exercises. It's still a recovery process. But we're obviously still in that recovery process. It's still about rehab. It's still about kind of letting the body heal, taking treatment where you can, and then slowly working your way back onto the court. It's been literally just a test of patience for a player like Franz Wagner. He knows how much he can help this team. He knows how much this time is valuable for this team because it was valuable for him before he got hurt. And he's trying to make the most of it. Honestly, like, Franz's spirit seemed pretty good. He even said that he felt pretty good until Mo's injury happened, which was, a week after Franz's injury or a week and a half after Franz's injury. And this, they lived together. Family was in town for the holidays. Mo has not gotten surgery yet. It's coming pretty soon, within the next week or so. There's still a lot to process. But by all accounts, Franz has felt good. At 4 weeks in, he is recovering the way the Magic want him to. He's just waiting for the go-ahead to start doing things. And we know for Franz, that is really hard because that's a dude that wants to play. He'll play through just about anything. He's having to slow down really for the first time in a long time because he's been to those European, to the international competitions over the last few summers. This is like the first time he's been off his feet and not playing basketball for like a really extended period of time. But he seemed to be in good spirits. Things seem to be progressing the way that they're supposed to be. And, we are probably, it took Paolo was 2 months. Paolo got hurt October 30th. December 30th is 2 months. We're maybe an extra week, so 9 weeks. We're still a little ways away from Franz coming back. I would expect Franz to be back in early February or the All-Star break. If it's not as serious, maybe we see him back at the end of the month. But as we're seeing, there is a bit of a ramp-up period. You do have to get back into motion. You've been kind of sitting, not being able to do anything for a while. There is definitely an extensive kind of reconditioning period as well. And so the Magic are just sitting and waiting for Franz to get back. That's good for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. Subscribe to the podcast at Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all Filming Stone podcasts to your podcast enabling device. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us there on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. On the Patreon site now, I break down the Orlando Magic's clutch situations, where they go, what they're trying to accomplish, what that says about their offensive philosophy. You can find that right now on my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. As if all that's not enough, we now have the Locked On Magic Daily Newsletter, the one-stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. And start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic. This has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.